Hello YouTube. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rob's Arcade. As usual, I'm your host Rob, and I'm coming to you again from the arcade with a very special episode. This episode is devoted entirely to celebrating 25 years of Pokemon. I've got some awesome things in store for my Player 2s. First, we're going to do an art class where I teach all of my Player 2s how to draw one of the most popular Pokemon characters ever. After that, we're going to cruise on down to the Classic Game Showcase and spend some time playing a classic Pokemon video game. I can't wait to get started. I'm sure my Player 2s can't wait to see what we're going to be drawing. Let's check it out. Okay, Player 2s, it's time to draw Pikachu. We're going to do things the same way that we always do. The first step is the guideline step. In this step, I'm going to be drawing in red on this dry erase board. When I draw in red, I want you to press very lightly with your pencils. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle. Now make sure that when you draw the circle, you're leaving room on your paper because we're going to add to the image on the top and quite a bit on the bottom, so make sure that you just leave some space. After we draw this circle, we're going to draw a larger oval shape, probably about 2.5 times this original circle that we did. Then we're going to draw a guideline right through the middle of this. So this way we can keep the image symmetrical, which means even on both sides. We're going to draw 2 smaller circles here. And then we're going to draw 1 oval here, kind of goes straight up, and another one that goes off to the side. We're going to try to keep these the same size. When we're done with that, we're going to draw an oval right here. It's okay to draw through a little bit. And another oval right about here. Again, we're going to try to keep everything the same size. The good thing about doing this in pencil is that if it's not the same size, if you see that something's a little off, you can take a look at it and you can erase it and fix it. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. The next step, we're going to draw a little circle right here and then an oval right underneath there. We're going to do something very similar over here. Again, we have this guideline which splits everything in half, which is very helpful. We're going to draw an oval here, and right about here, a smaller oval. So I'm sure a lot of my Player 2s can see that this shape is actually starting to form an image. You can see that since we're drawing Pikachu, we have the ears, we have the head, we have the body, we have the arms, and we have the legs. One more step in the guideline step, and then we're going to move on to the next step where we start adding detail and actually adding shape to our image. We're going to draw the tail, which would be kind of like a sideways letter Z. Draw a line down like this. And we're going to go back down, right through here, and right through here. And again, it's okay if you're drawing on top of the lines that you've already drawn because we're pressing very lightly with our pencil, so we're just creating the guideline. When we start fattening up our image and start actually doing the drawing to add the detail and everything, we're going to go over this stuff. So we're going to separate those lines in that step. And that step, we're going to start right now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to add a detail to his face. Now right on the center line that we did right here, we're just going to draw a tiny little triangle. Right underneath that triangle, we're going to draw a letter W. Starting from the middle, going over to one side, going over the other side. We're going to try to keep everything the same size. Underneath that letter W, we're going to draw a letter U. We're going to connect it to both sides of the W. So it's a W, letter U, and then we're going to just draw a little curve inside of here. There we have his mouth. When we're done with that, we're going to move on to the next step, which is the eyes. Starting just a little bit above where we did the mouth, we're going to draw one circle. Same thing on the other side. Another circle. Now if you want, we can add, right now, just a little highlight. Right there so the eyes pop out at you. Next step, we're going to start going over all of our outline details. So we're going to go over the top of the head right here. When we go over the ears, we're going to add a little point to the end of the oval. So we're going to go around just like that, and then we're going to start here and bring it back down around. So it's not a complete oval rounded shape. It's got a little point at the end. We're going to do the same thing at the other side. We're going to try to keep it even. Right about here to here. We're going to follow our guidelines around there, around the cheeks, and then inside the little circles that we did before, we're going to add slightly smaller circles. See, even I make mistakes, and that's why we draw in pencil, so we can erase it as we go along and fix things as we see fit. So as of right now, we should have the head all complete. We're going to add a little line right here and a line right there. For details, eventually we're going to go in and we're going to shade all that in and add a little shadow to Pikachu's ears. Now we're going to go down to the body. We're going to start on the arm. What we're going to do is we're going to follow our curves over here, follow our curves over here. This part right here, we're not even going to worry about because we're going to eventually erase that and make this one solid shape. Fingers, we're going to give him 4 fingers and a thumb. Triangles, 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, and then one small triangle right there like that. We're going to follow our guideline down to here. And now we're going to work on possibly the most difficult part of this image. Okay, so just pay attention at this point. We're going to do this leg. Starting right about here, we're going to follow this leg around and make a little curve there. We're going to go over this little section that we did for the foot. And then starting right here, we're going to actually break our guideline just a little bit. Starting right here, we're going to go down and around. We're going to make a small little curve over to where our center guideline is. And then follow it down to there. Don't go completely through, just to about right there. Inside, 1, 2 lines, separate for his toes. Okay, again, to go over this, we had our line here, went over our curve, we went over the foot, did the rest of the bottom shape, and when we go through here, after we finish inking this and after we get our final step complete, when we erase all these lines, we're going to have one solid image right there. Okay, now player 2's your image should look something like this. If it doesn't look exactly like this, as I always say, it's okay. Pause the video, look and find where you made the mistakes. Look where it doesn't look right and rewind it. The reason why we're pressing very lightly with our pencils is so we can go in there and we can erase all of the mistakes that we make. So, we're going to move on. After this, we're going to go over the little area that we did right here, cutting off this little bit of space right there, and then doing another oval and 2 lines. So there we have his other leg. We're going to follow this guideline right up here, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did for the one arm to this arm, only this time you're only going to be able to see 4 of Pikachu's fingers from the way that his hand is angled. So we went over our arm shape, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles. So now we have both arms complete. Again, Player 2s, I know I go kind of fast. Feel free to pause this video. I don't want you to get frustrated. If you need to pause it, if you need to slow it down, that's okay. Work at your own speed. I'm trying to show you the basics here. I'm trying to show you how to do the image. Everybody works at a different speed. And we're going to go and we're going to finish up the tail. Again, these guidelines right through here, we're going to end up eventually erasing them, so we don't worry about them. We don't trace over those. We just go over what we did for the tail. Since we drew through, if we just go over the parts that we need, we make a solid shape so that the arm is in the foreground, which means in the front, while the tail is in the background, which means in the back. So as of right now, step 2 is done. We have a Pikachu drawing, but we want to have the best Pikachu drawing that we can possibly have, so we're going to go over this in ink. So I want my Player 2s to take their black felt tip pen or black magic marker and get ready to start inking over the lines. Only the lines that I drew in blue, only the necessary lines. The guidelines, we're not going to trace over those. So these lines like this, and I'm just erasing this right now. Eventually we're going to go and erase everything ourselves. Just don't trace over those. So I'm going to start with the outside, the outline. I'm going to go over the ears. We're going to fill that in with black. Fill that in with black. Going to the eyes, we're going to leave that little highlight at the top. Same thing over here. Over the nose, it's a little triangle. The mouth. Over the cheeks. Little red circles that he has inside of his cheeks. Over the arm, 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers. Over the leg. Over the tail again. Since we drew through, we're only going to trace over the lines that we need on the outside. Over the foot. Just went over the body. Over the other leg. Rest of the arm, 4 fingers, and the thumb, and there we go. At this point, we should have a completed Pikachu drawing. Now take a look as the ink dries, and make sure that there's no lines that you missed, because if the ink dries and you take your eraser and you erase over everything, if you missed a step, which is okay, it happens, we all make mistakes. That's why we do everything in pencil, as I always say. If you missed a step, you can go back in and see where that step is and go back and fix it before you actually start inking over your finished drawing. But as of now, if you all follow directions, we all should have something that looks very similar to this. Doesn't have to look perfect, just similar. So when this ink dries, go in, erase all of your pencil lines. So at that point, these lines will all be gone. I'm just going to try to do this without erasing any of the black lines, just to clean it up a little bit. And there. My Player 2 should have a finished Pikachu drawing. I'm sure you all did an amazing job, and I can't wait to see your work. Great job, Player 2s. There have been quite a few Pokemon games released on a variety of game systems, but on this episode of the Classic Game Showcase, we're going to spend some time with Pokemon Pinball, Ruby and Sapphire for the Game Boy Advance. Released in 2003, this game plays like a vintage pinball machine, but Pokemon Pinball is more than a traditional pinball game. I mean, sure, players control the flippers to shoot the Pokeball at targets in an attempt to rack up as many points as possible, but in this game, players can also catch over 200 Pokemon characters from the Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire games. There are 3 ways to catch Pokemon in this game. One is Catch 'em mode, in which a shadowed image is uncovered by hitting the Pokemon bumpers 3 times. The Pokemon will then appear and must be hit before the 2-minute time limit expires. Another way to catch them is in Egg mode. As soon as an egg on the game field hatches, the newborn Pokemon will start moving around the pinball table. It must be hit twice within the time limit for a successful capture. The third way to catch Pokemon is through Evo mode, where Pokemon who have already been obtained can be evolved by collecting 3 items and then entering the center hole within 2 minutes. These items represent how Pokemon evolve in other games. There are 2 playing fields in this game, the Ruby field and the Sapphire field, and while both appear similar in design, they have a few differences and bonus levels that add some variety to the gameplay. Pokemon fans and pinball wizards alike will love this game. Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire was developed exclusively for the Game Boy Advance, but in 2015 it was released on the Wii U Virtual Console, making it the first Pokemon game to be released for that system. There have been a lot of pinball games released for the Game Boy Advance during the console's lifespan, but Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire stands out as one of the best, and the gotta catch 'em all element adds a new dimension to the pinball drama. Despite its cuteness, this game is an excellent title for all skill levels, and I highly recommend playing it if you get the opportunity. Until next time. That's a wrap on another episode of Rob's Arcade. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video to help this channel grow. Also be sure to follow Rob's Arcade at the social media links listed in the description below. Now, as far as the next episode goes, my player 2s are going to love this. We're going to spend some time drawing a classic cartoon character that just got a brand new show on Apple TV. I'm sure all my player 2s are going to love this. Until then, keep drawing, and I'll see you next time at Rob's Arcade.